first of all, how are preparations going for the Six Nations?
Good. We've had a couple of days in camp. I think we've benefited as well, probably from that Barbells week. Obviously, I think we were one of the only nations that played sort of an autumn game, but with a large proportion of management reshuffle. I think it was probably important that they could get their hands on the squad, if you like, and we've got a few new faces within the squad that we've recently has been named. So it's we're 2 days in. This is my third day, so the guys are going to be training today. But yeah, it's there's a lot of energy in camp and a lot of expectation, obviously, after last year.
As you say, Wayne's just kind of settling into his new role, but how different do you imagine things will be compared to the way they were under Warren Gatland?
I think the material things, the environment, the physical environment is obviously going to stay the same. I think Wayne's brought in a few more coaches. Obviously, Steve came into the World Cup, so he's had a head start in that regard. He's got his hands on a lot of the players. Obviously, Wayne's got a perspective from coaching regional rugby and coming into the national setup, so he has that perspective. And obviously, everybody knows how the Scarlets played, so I'm sure there'll be a nod towards that style of play. And it's just a case of everyone getting up to speed, and the coaches in the same vein.
What's it like for you, I suppose, coming in? It's been a kind of a tough season for Ospreys. Lost to Munster last weekend in Thomond Park. When you go back into the Wales setup, what does it feel like?
Yeah, it is. Obviously, as an Osprey, you're not going to deny how difficult the season's been. And you sort of have to park that, but it almost gives you the bit between your teeth when you go into camp. There's a no excuse environment when we go into the Vale. The calibre of the player and the quality facilities we have, with the new attitude of it, I suppose, is different. Well, and obviously different coaching setup. It's an exciting time and something we're going to be involved in.
It is something special that you have, though, that you automatically seem to be able to switch it when you go into Wales camp. What exactly do you think that's down to?
Well, it's a different competition, isn't it? Different competition, different things at stake, and sometimes you see that sort of slingshot effect when you move from domestic competitions. But like I say, going into the national camp is very different to any domestic setup, and you relish the opportunity to be in there, irrelevant of how little or how much experience you've got.
Do you think it's kind of an open Six Nations this year? Obviously, you won the Slam last year. England, you made the semi-finals. England made the final. What way would you describe this year's championship?
Yeah, it's an interesting one. I think it's always difficult off the back of a World Cup with form, because obviously teams will have tried to peak for the World Cup. We're the only ones that played a game in the autumn, so there's a bit of a longer lag between campaigns. But then you look across the nations as a complete package, and there's a lot of new coaches, a few new captains, and a couple of squads that have got a lot of changes. So it makes for an exciting competition, as the competition is year on year.
And I'm going to ask this to everyone: who's going to win the Six Nations this year?
Oh, I have to say Wales, don't I?
Lovely. That's what we wanted you to say.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Obvious answer.